everyone, and thank you very much for having me here today at Crypto Finance. It's a very, very exciting conference to be at. So as it was just introduced, I actually, together with my co-founder and chairman, Reto Trinkler, founded Melonport almost 3 years ago. I think we were one of the first token issuances or sales in the space, I think in February 2016. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we see the journey from Bitcoin to where we are today and where we see it going from here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Melon, which is our core product, our two fundamental truths or the assumptions that we base our business around, and then some other products that we've been working on alongside Melon. So quick roadmap. I think most of you are familiar with this, but clearly the Bitcoin was the kind of underpinning technology that gave us the ability to transfer value in a matter of moments halfway across the world without any central counterparty, with very little transaction costs in the middle. Ethereum took this and embedded an entire coding language inside it. If you have something that looks like a decentralized computer, which is what Ethereum gives you, the next logical step is to be building software on that computer, and that's basically what we're doing. We're building software for technology-regulated investment funds. The software allows you to set up and manage technology-regulated structures. I'll talk about that a little bit further. And just maybe a note to say we started our development on Ethereum. We are, however, blockchain agnostic. And we believe that as we're seeing lots of different blockchains evolve with lots of different properties, you're seeing proof of stake, proof of authority. Some are faster, some are private, some are public. And our kind of vision, or where we see things going, is that all these blockchains will eventually be interconnected to one another through the internet of blockchains. So I'm going to move on now to what is Melon. Melon is our protocol. We derive, in case you're wondering why we called it Melon, it's not behind the fruit, it's the Greek word which means future. And we see Melonport as the future of portfolios, or the future of investing. The Melon Protocol basically allows you to predefine the parameters by which you want your fund structure to run in code. So think about a fund prospectus coded. It allows you to predefine what exchanges your fund is allowed to trade with. It allows you to predefine an asset universe. The asset universe is restricted to ERC20 tokens at the moment. It allows you to select a data feed provider. It allows you to predefine your performance and management fees. It allows you to predefine who's allowed to participate or invest in your fund by whitelisting Ethereum addresses that are allowed to invest. So you can do a KYC AML on top of that. And it also allows you to do risk management. So you can predefine limits. For example, maximum position size is 10% in your fund. And these are all coded in and enforced by the blockchain. So that's what the protocol allows you to do. Why would you want to do that? Well, I don't know if any of you have ever tried to set up a fund before, but it's quite a headache. It takes a lot of time, it costs a lot of money. In using Melon, it takes a few seconds, and it costs at the moment around $50 worth of gas on Ethereum. It used to be a lot less, but because of the price of Ethereum has risen so dramatically, it now starts to be more expensive. So you get better performance, mainly because your costs are lower. So you can charge a lot less fees and pass that on to the investor. You get transparency because everyone can see your positions and also see the rule set by which your fund can run. You get some kind of comfort because you know that the blockchain will enforce those rules and that there's no kind of funny business behind the background. You get easier reporting because all of the accounting, all of the trades are basically logged on the blockchain, and so is performance. And another really cool thing is all the accounting is done through the smart contract. So we've basically coded the NAV calculations and the performance and management fee calculations in smart contract. So the smart contract basically regularly calculates them, and in the case of the performance and management fees, it also distributes them regularly to the manager. So that's how it works. In summary, it's more secure, transparent, efficiency, and another cool thing is when you do invest in one of these funds, actually what you're really doing is permissioning someone to manage a fund on your behalf, or manage your assets on your behalf. So it's more like you at all times have custody of your assets, but you're permissioning someone else to manage those assets within your predefined rule set. So if we compare that to legal speak, in the traditional world, it kind of looks a bit more like a managed account. Okay, so what do we base our business on? You're probably thinking, well, you know, if I can't trade, you know, if it can only trade ERC20 tokens, why is it interesting for me? Well, obviously, one of the core fundamental truths that we believe in is that crypto is an asset class that's here to stay. You know, people may resist this, and I've actually heard a few people in this conference who doubt that it's here to stay. But just want to make a little reminder that in the 1980s, junk bonds were also rejected as an asset class until Mike Milken came and pioneered the way in the space. That was nearly 40 years ago. Today, it's over $40 trillion in terms of market cap. ETFs were also rejected as an asset class until John Bogle came along in the 1980s. Everyone thought he was absolutely crazy and that these things were uninvestable. I actually still hear people say that today. However, the asset class is now well over $1 trillion. Same with commodities 20 years ago until Goldman Sachs pioneered the GSCI index, and now pretty much all of us have some form of commodities, I would think, in our portfolio. And emerging markets, I would even argue, slightly more controversial, but as recent as 2001, it was seen as an uninvestable asset class until John Templeton came along and launched the first successful emerging markets fund. So we obviously believe that crypto is here to stay. Maybe just as a little snippet, you know, where we are, I think we're probably one of the only companies doing what we are doing and very close to launch time. We are seeing 70 to 80 incoming calls from crypto hedge funds per month now. Asking us when our protocol is going to be ready and putting pressure on us and making us work sleepless nights and weekends to get it ready in time. But the second fundamental truth that I want to talk to is maybe something that's a little bit too early to see right now. But we believe that while our technology will be suitable for crypto funds for the moment, it will also be suitable for traditional funds in the future. And we fundamentally believe that all assets, equities, bonds, commodities, etc., will eventually be tokenized, because why wouldn't they be? It's much more efficient. You can transfer them more easily. And it's just, you know, in a world where we're making such amazing advancements in AI and other technologies, it's kind of crazy that we're still settling equities T+3. So we totally see that as the future. Some recent examples are maybe the Daimler bond that was issued as a kind of pilot test a few months ago, and also lots of headlines about central banks issuing equities or fiat currencies backed by central banks in the works at the moment. And a few companies, this is just a few, but there's probably 24 companies that are working on issuing equities on the blockchain. I think you heard from Neufund this morning with Zoe on the panel. And then finally, as a last thing maybe, we do work on Melon Protocol as our core product. But I want to mention 3 other products that we've built or we're building in parallel. The first is Melon.js. Melon.js is basically, we have a front end that you can basically use to interact with our protocol in a user-friendly way, so you don't actually have to understand the blockchain. You can use the user-friendly interface, just like no one really understood the internet protocol at first until Google came along and gave you kind of a user-friendly way to interact with it. So that's what Melon.js is. You just need to use JavaScript to be able to interact with our backend contracts, and you can basically white label our product. It's completely free and it's completely open source for everyone to use. Oyente, last year, somewhere in the middle of last year, Oyente, for those who don't know, is a very important security tool for smart contract coding. They ran out of funding bizarrely last summer. We noticed that this project is extremely important to the ecosystem, so we picked up funding and took on those 5 PhD students and had them cater their tools somehow to the Melon Protocol. So we now use Oyente in our everyday coding just to pick up on bugs immediately. It's also open source and open to other developers as well. And finally, Melon Mail, which is a cool, secure peer-to-peer messaging service so that managers can interact securely with investors. And maybe just I have 30 seconds left to say this. One of the problems and challenges that we've encountered recently has been, as our product gets close to launch, we see that it doesn't really fit in any kind of legislatory environment, and it's going to be tough to figure out how we use this protocols like this in a regulated fashion. And we spoke to some of our peers in the industry. Obviously, we're very close to them because we're working on linking other exchanges and data feed providers, etc., into the Melon Protocol. And they were all suffering from similar problems. So at the end of last year, we came together with 40 other founding members to form MAMA. MAMA stands for the Multi-Chain Asset Managers Association. It's a trade association which unites anyone building technology in the asset management space linked to blockchain and gives us a united voice to push forward regulation and clarity in this space. These are some of the founding members. A lot of them are here today. A lot of them are actually from the traditional world. There's a few names as well. Yeah, if this is a space that's interesting for you to keep up on news, it's probably worth looking into. That's all from me. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm around for a couple of hours if you have any questions.